Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching first part of What If Naruto Was Descendant of Reven. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
It was dark outside, as it always was when Naruto was attacked, but this time there were masked shinobi after him, and he was deep in the woods, with no way for the old man Hokage to reach him. Naruto's night had been simple, as he had decided to avoid Konoha tonight after sensing their bloodthirsty aura aimed at him all day, and to be somewhere where he didn't have to fear for his life. The Hokage would normally come to protect him, apologizing for the attacks, but Naruto knew these attacks were about something about himself, and when he asked about it, the old man would lie and say he didn't know. "I've got to get away before they catch me," thought Naruto, who had gotten such a lead from these masked shinobi by chance, as they had tripped his cans tied with string alarm, and it gave him the lead he needed to get away before they could pursue. "Demon, return here. We're going to finish what the Hokage started by killing you and sending you back to hell," said one of the masked shinobi, approaching him and becoming visible as the form approached. Another thing that irritated Naruto was when people called him demon, monster, and other derogatory terms before attempting to harm him. The Hokage kept interfering, but it still irritated Naruto that they attacked him anyway, and that they seemed to disregard the old man's authority when he was supposed to be the village leader. "If I make it out of here alive, I'm going to get answers, even if I have to find them myself and then confront the old man about it," Naruto thought as he came across a large mansion of a house, and not too soon with the two masked shinobi now less than 10 feet away. "I've got you now, demon. I'm not sure why the Hokage is so compassionate in wanting you to be loved. Monsters like you deserve to be killed," said the one masked shinobi, who wore a cat mask and his partner wore a boar mask. "But I'm not a demon," Naruto protested, perplexed as to why they were after him and why they kept calling him a demon. "Stop talking. When we're done with you, you'll be begging to die and re-enter hell with all your other demon brethren where you belong," the shinobi with the boar mask said as he charged forward with a sword in hand, aiming to cut into Naruto's side. As for Naruto, he stumbled back a few steps in fear, as if they would help him avoid the attack, and when he did, he discovered that he had stepped on a trap door, which ironically saved him from the attack. The two shinobi examined the hole and then the house itself before realizing they had discovered the Namikaze Estate, which the Yondaime had carefully hidden from the rest of the village. "We must pursue him. If he gets into the estate, the demon will use the power within to try to destroy Konoha once more," said the boar masked shinobi as he jumped into the hole, followed by the cat masked shinobi seconds later. From the lower levels, Naruto groaned as he awoke from the darkness brought on by his fall, struggling to get off the ground only to discover that he wasn't on the ground at all. He was actually lying in a very large, comfortable, and soft bed that felt wonderful to be in right now. Naruto retreated to the softness of the pillow, deciding that a few more minutes wouldn't hurt, and let sleep take him willingly this time. The boy was so exhausted that he didn't notice the blurry figure who appeared in the room before disappearing to deal with the others, and not in the same way that Naruto did. Also in the lower levels. What exactly is this location? It appears to be strange, said the cat-masked Anbu, who was looking around and noticing how different the area around him was, almost like an ancient temple. "I'm not sure. Even the Uchiha and Hyuga clans were more secretive than the Namikaze." "That's saying something," said the boar-masked Anbu, who had seen many people try to learn the Yondaime's skills, but none of them seemed to have the spark the man did, and it was his power that helped win the fight against Kyuubi those 5 years ago. "You have entered this place, and I command you to leave or face the consequences," said the deep, almost inhuman voice. "Is anyone there? Prove yourself." Anbu, the cat masked, said as he prepared his sword for use if he was attacked, and his partner did the same. The two shinobi received their answer in the form of a spiritual-like masked figure with gauntlet arms with metal claws covering the hands, blood-red armor with strange design patterns, and black robes behind him. The figure's form was wavy like a ghost but lacked the aura of one, according to what the two shinobi had read about sensing them. "I am the keeper of this place. You have no business being here. Leave now or die," said the figure, pointing a menacing clawed hand at the two of them. "We're here to find someone who fell down here before us," the cat-masked Anbu explained, hoping to appease the strange spirit. "Oh, that little blonde-haired boy. I had him taken to one of the restrooms. When I found him, he was a shambles, and he'll need a good bath when he properly wakes up," the spirit said, seeing the two tense at his words. "He isn't a boy. Kyubi is a demon who attacked us 5 years ago. The creature was sealed inside that boy's body, making him mortal, and we intend to send the demon back into hell where it belongs," said the boar-masked Anbu, pointing his own weapon at the spirit, who moved his head to the side for a second, then returned to a thinking-like pose. "You are incorrect. The boy is not a demon, so I cannot let you kill him," the spirit said, seeing the two Anbu become angry with him, as they tightened their grip on each of their respected weapons, ready to fight the spirit if necessary. "You will not be able to stop us, evil spirit. We are doing our village a favor by finally removing the demon from Konoha. You have no power to stop us, despite what you may want us to believe," said the cat-masked Anbu, charging forward with the intention of passing through the spirit and chasing down the demon while it was vulnerable. "Am I now an evil spirit? Fool. I never claimed to be. Level 2 system defense turrets fire to eliminate hostile intruders. Acknowledge," said the spirit, who was actually a hologram projection, and ordered the defensive measures of this mysterious residence. "System recognized. Turrets are activating," said a voice that sounded almost feminine before strange objects emerged from the top corner sections of the walls, which had begun firing several red charka bolts at the Anbu. The two shinobi used their skills to try to dodge them, but the blasts were too numerous, and the accuracy was near pinpoint even when they moved to dodge. When the turrets stopped firing, the Anbu was reduced to ash and smoke from the ash, which would be filtered out through the many vents in this underground complex. Satisfied with the killing, the mysterious warrior's projection decided to wait a few hours before seeing the blonde-haired boy and informing him of the important news he had for the child. After a few hours, Naruto awoke once more to find himself feeling quite refreshed, which was unusual for him back on the streets of the village or in that Kami-forsaken orphanage. He did, however, reclaim the old witch by detonating a massive stink bomb in the area, which was mixed with his own waste and the garbage she would try to force him to eat for dinner. It was his way of declaring his independence from that hellhole. Exiting the room to find the bathroom, Naruto walked through the many corridors of this place, feeling for the first time at home. Walking further down, Naruto entered a large empty room that split off into many other hallways, and the boy had the distinct impression that this place was much larger than he had anticipated. "Hello, young master," said a voice that spun Naruto around in surprise, and he was barely able to stop himself from pissing himself scared at the sight of the metallic wonder before him. "What is your name? What exactly are you? And how do I get to the bathroom?" Naruto wondered, looking at the being in front of him, if he was a threat. "Oh, forgive me, master, I didn't introduce myself, did I? I am HK-47, protocol droid, your humble servant at your service, and guide for today, my master," HK-47 said before bowing to Naruto. "Did you put me in that room and on that comfortable bed?" Naruto wondered if there were any other droids like HK-47 around. "Of course, master. I was ordered to do so by my first master, who found you and saw great potential in you from what I saw," HK-47 said, seeing the boy's eyes light up with joy at the fact that someone was interested in him. "Really? That's fantastic. Could you point me to the bathroom now? I don't think I can hold it much longer, and I'd rather not make a mess, Naruto said, seeing the droid's eyes glow slightly, as if widening, and then dim back to normal. Certainly, Master. Forgive me. I forgot that all human organisms, including yourself, must remove waste from their bodies on a regular basis, and that you can only hold it in for so long. This way, Master, HK-47 said as he led Naruto to the nearest restroom and let the boy do his much-needed business before the child exited. You have no idea how much that HK meant to me. Thank you very much, Naruto said, wiping away the remaining water from his hands after washing them. Oh, thank you, Master, but once you've finished cleaning yourself, I need to take you to a bathroom where you can take a bath and get you some known clothes, HK-47 said, as his odor sensors alerted him that Naruto had a bad odor around him that needed to be removed. It isn't my fault. I don't have a home, and I can't exactly go into someone else's home and say, "Can I use your shower so I don't reek?" Because people despise me so much, Naruto explained, his eyes welling up with sorrow and pain from his words. Well, Master, in my opinion, such meatbags don't deserve to have someone like you in their homes, and if anything, they should be taken to the middle of the village square and shot in the head, HK-47 said, seeing Naruto's puzzled expression, and the droid knew the boy would understand later when he was older. Okay. You mentioned your master before I did. When can I see him or her? Asked Naruto, wanting to thank the person who had saved him from the two masked men who were after him and possibly work off the debt he owed. After a bath and a change of clothes, Master. Follow me, please, HK-47 said as he led Naruto to his room, only to open a door in that room that led to the bathroom, complete with a bathtub for Naruto to bathe in. Thank you once more, HK. Could you please inform your master that I also expressed my gratitude? Naruto observed the droid preparing the bath and towels for when the bath was finished. Certainly, Master. When you're ready to take a bath, take off your clothes and place them here, where they'll be cleaned. Your clothes will be on your bed when you come out, HK-47 said before leaving Naruto to take a private bath. Office of the Hokage. The Sandaime Hokage sighed, looking at the piles of paperwork he had just finished, and out the window, where he could see a partial view of the monument heads. His successor wanted Naruto to be viewed as a hero because of the burden the boy carried within him, but the village only added to the boy's burden by doing the opposite, and they seemed to enjoy making matters worse. The old, formerly retired Hokage attempted to protect Naruto, but his efforts were thwarted by his former teammates, who wanted to end the boy's life, and Danzo wanted to turn Naruto into a weapon. The civilian council also demanded the boy's head, but the clan heads were gracious enough to honor the Yondaime's wish and even allowed the boy to be raised normally in one of their homes. Except for the Uchiha clan, who despised the boy because of the Kyuubi, but the Uchiha clan head was thankfully silenced by Hyuga Hiyashi, who told the opposition to trust the Yondaime's sealing abilities. I'm glad Naruto got out of that orphanage using that powerful stink bomb he made using whatever he did. For at least 30 feet, the Inuzuka dogs will not approach the location or the surrounding area. When Ibiki went on a rant about how she should have just let Naruto starve instead of feeding him bad food, I had to take the overseer to her. The only problem now is finding Naruto, as he no longer trusts to stay in a single place once due to the villagers hunting him like an animal, and from what I've noticed, he never sleeps in the same place twice, thought Sarutobi, discovering that Naruto had discovered some interesting places to stay warm during harsh or cold weather. For years, with the exception of the Uchiha clan, the clan heads all wanted to take Naruto in to raise as one of their own, but the vast majority of the civilian council had some form of authority over the boy's upbringing and denied the motion countless times. That section of the council was mostly made up of people involved in the merchant district, trade, and other civilian-related issues, such as what to do with orphans. When the Kyuubi had them quaking in fear in their shelters, wondering if they were going to die, the arrogant fools pretended to be tough in front of Naruto. Hokage-sama, I just got word from Red-Eyed Weasel that both Anbu Boar and Cat were seen chasing Uzumaki Naruto through the woods, and Anbu with a dog mask on his face and gravity-defying hair said. Assemble a team with Weasel and have him find Naruto right away. If word gets out that he's gone missing, the councils will have a fit and want to lock Naruto up, Sarutobi said before heading out to find the boy, knowing that he was the only person Naruto would trust right now. Yes, Hokage-sama, the dog-masked Anbu said before heading off to find Weasel, hoping it wasn't too late. Namikaze Estate lower levels second hour. Naruto had lost all sense of time in the bath, finding it so relaxing that he didn't want to get out, but his instincts had told him now was the best time, and his instincts had been known to be correct most of the time. As he stepped out of the bath, Naruto wrapped a towel around his waist and noticed a crimson robe his size hanging nearby. Taking it, Naruto wore it before going into his room and looking for new clothes that fit him again. I hope this guy isn't some weird stalker or something, Naruto said, though he had a feeling the man who ran this place wasn't like that and was someone he could trust. Naruto examined himself in the mirror after dressing, finding strange comfort in the material of the clothing that seemed to fit him perfectly, and they were more comfortable than anything he had ever felt before. Naruto felt his instincts telling him to go down certain paths, and how it would lead him to the answers he seeks not only about who the master of this place was, but also about himself. He soon arrived in a room filled with green light-filled lines stretching from the walls to the roof, and the floor looked clean enough to eat off of. Strange cubes and triangle-like items adorned the walls, with the far side of the room displaying a large statue of a figure dressed in robes, his or her face hidden by the hood of said robes. You are here. At long last, said a voice, causing Naruto to jump several feet in the air before landing in pain on his buttocks, causing the voice to chuckle in amusement. Hey. That's not funny, buddy. You wouldn't laugh if someone did that to you, Naruto said, getting off the ground and rubbing his rump because the floor was harder than he thought. How accurate. Please accept my apologies, but seeing you now brings back a lot of memories of how I looked when I was your age. Though I must admit, I looked more well-fed than you were, said the voice before the figure appeared, looking Naruto up and down as he noticed the boy had less meat on the bones than he had thought. Yeah, not many places let me eat there, and the one that doesn't overcharge me or give me any rotten food, Naruto grumbled, referring to the fact that only one place allowed him to eat what was the only thing he could eat without being poisoned. Again, my apologies, I didn't know, and if I had, I would have done something about it, the figure said, causing Naruto to look up in surprise at the blurry figure. How? I mean, you're not exactly firm. Of course, no offense, Naruto said, seeing the figure chuckle at that because it was true. True and astute of you, but I have HK-47 at my disposal, and he could have brought you to me if I had ordered him to. That's why you ended up in a bed and not somewhere you don't know after an attempt on your life, the figure said, seeing the boy's posture stiffen and his eyes look slightly worried that a part of his life had been discovered. I'd prefer we stay away from that subject of my life, Naruto said, seeing the figure nod in agreement because it was a sensitive subject. I understand, but I stand by what I said about assisting you, and I am here to do so now. My successor, the figure said, seeing Naruto look up in surprise. Successor? I don't get it, Naruto said, seeing the figure tilt his masked head before returning it to its normal straight position. Not surprising given your age, but I can help you become the person you should have been from the start. Naruto, you see. I am your ancestor. My name is Namikaze Reven, the founder of the Namikaze clan, and to be more specific in lineage, I am your great-grandfather who helped become one of the key founders of Konoha with the Shoden, Reven said, seeing Naruto's eyes widen before doing the only thing he could with this information. He passed out. Oh my, it appears the young master has fainted from your presence, master, HK-47 said as he entered the room. Yes, he has HK, but given the information he just received, it is to be expected, and I would have done the same in his situation. Did you have a reason for coming here? Reven said this while paying attention to the rust-colored droid that was his loyal servant. Of course, master. It has come to my attention that the Hokage, along with a group of what appear to be high-level shinobi, has tripped the sensor detectors in the forest area. Given our current situation with what happened earlier, I wanted your advice on how to deal with them, HK-47 said, knowing that none of his actions could be carried out without Reven's approval. Turn on the shield generator. The thickness level is set to 75%. Just enough to keep other beings out without killing them, but hurting them for trying and numbing their bodies in the process, Reven said, seeing HK-47 chuckle at such actions. Oh, I see, you're only cruel to those who try. Oh master, it's actions like these that make my behavioral core glow, HK-47 said before following Reven's orders. And now, while HK is busy keeping the Hokage out of my home, I'm playing the waiting game with my successor, and my first true apprentice in a long time, Reven said, as the light-filled cubes and dark-filled triangles on the wall glowed with what appeared to be excitement. Away from the Namikaze Estate. The old Hokage couldn't believe it. The house he had been welcomed to on very few occasions by his late fire shadow of a successor had somehow raised some kind of chakra barrier, knocking his tracking team back while disabling them. His two loyal Anbu who possessed the Sharingan eyes used them to see if there was a way to breach the barrier, only to discover that there was none, and any attempt to physically enter would result in being temporarily disabled. How can we overcome this obstacle? This is the first time I've seen anything like it, said the dog-masked Anbu, who found his Sharingan eye useless against it and was curious if Naruto was inside. I'm not sure, but I know the councils will not stand for it and will want Naruto brought under their control. They have been slowly draining all my power for years now, ever since the Yondaime died, and even the clan heads are feeling it now that they may have to dance to their tune, said the Hokage, seeing Hitaki Kakashi sigh, as he had learned of Naruto being his sensei's son, but the constant number of missions he had to take on prevented him from taking the boy in, and councils were quite upset with the idea of that demon boy. First and foremost, learning from a Yondaime student. Someone or something is coming this way, Uchiha Itachi said behind his weasel mask, causing the other two to look in his general direction. What the hell happened? Said the Hokage, seeing the sight in front of him as some sort of puppet painted in a rusty base color. Hello, meatbags. Please allow me to introduce myself to you and your old meatbag, which you refer to as a Hokage. I am HK-47, a devoted protocol droid and slave to my master. The same master who has taken it upon himself to adopt one Uzumaki Naruto into his family and provide him with the nurturing environment he requires to keep him safe from the many arrogant meatbags of your village until he is strong enough to kill all who oppose him. HK-47 noticed the group of shinobi gasp at this because those who knew this was the Namikaze Estate knew they'd be royally screwed if Naruto discovered the truth about his ancestors. I'd like to speak with Naruto and your master, the Hokage said, hoping to gain the trust of this droid, and gain access to disable the machine and get the boy out of the estate. Master does not want you to enter the old meatbag. He has grown increasingly irritated by your treatment of the younger master and will not let you pass. Trying would only result in you feeling excruciating pain from this shield before you, but if you want to feel excruciating pain in trying, I won't stop you, and in fact, I encourage you to try knowing that if you fail, I will see your old body suffer on an incredible level. Just thinking about it makes my behavior core glow on the inside. Some of the shinobi's sweat dropped as they wondered if Anko wasn't in the house controlling this thing, said HK-47. When can I expect to see Naruto again? To me, he's like a grandson. Sarutobi wanted Naruto back in his care and hoped to keep this incident quiet before the councils found out. When the time comes, old meatbag. In the meantime, you must be patient and wait to see what happens to the young master when he appears to you again, HK-47 said before leaving the befuddled and heartbroken Hokage to deal with the situation on his own. What should we do, Hokage-sama? Itachi wondered what they could do and whether there was anything they could do. Nothing. We can only hope that when Naruto returns, he will not hate us for what I fear he will learn about himself, and that he will forgive us for not telling him the truth we kept from him. Sarutobi prayed that his failure to take better care of Naruto was still redeemable, and that the boy could find it deep in his heart to forgive him, even if it was only a little. Lower levels of Namikaze Estate. When Naruto awoke from his fainting spell, he found himself in the room where he met his alleged great-grandfather, Namikaze Reven, who helped create Konoha and made it one of the strongest villages to date. Looking up, Naruto noticed his ancestor's form now looking down at him with an amused expression, as if he was amused by how the boy took the news of being taken in by his great ancestor. "Can I ask a question?" said Naruto, wanting to ask something that had been bothering him since Reven's words were replaying in his head. Without a doubt. In order to learn, the young must ask questions. Reven observed Naruto crossing his legs while still sitting. So, how are you even alive? I mean, are you a ghost or a spirit? Naruto saw Reven laughing at the question, but it wasn't a laugh aimed at hurting Naruto because of the question, but rather the boy's question itself. No. You see, Naruto, when I was among the living, I wasn't exactly from your world, and when I came here, I intended for this to be my home. I had no intention of even starting a ninja village, let alone assisting in its establishment. Reven noticed Naruto scratching his head in confusion, but the boy seemed to understand to some extent and just accepted it as the answer at the time. So you're not a ghost or a spirit. So, who exactly are you? Naruto wished Reven would simply tell him so he could understand. He was a young man. How difficult could it be? I am a recollection. You see these various cubes and triangle-based objects in front of you? Reven motioned with his hand around the room. Yeah, I do, but they each glow with a strange light, and not all of them look pleasant, Naruto said, sensing the dark triangle-based ones were evil in some way. Excellent work. You see, Naruto, what you see in front of you are pieces of myself as well as my memories that represent your ancestor from many years ago who stands before you in this holographic projection. When Reven saw the boy look at him again, he was perplexed as to what that meant. So they're like jigsaw puzzle pieces that, when put together, make up you when you were still alive, said Naruto, recalling playing with the jigsaw puzzle that the old man showed him, which when put together produced a picture of ramen. Correct once more. Each of these holocrons, as they are known, contains a different piece of knowledge that my real self left behind before he died, to be used by his family to become the strongest of our family. Unfortunately, as I have learned from my 5 years of slumber, the last of the Namikaze line has all but vanished except for you, Naruto, and through you I see a chance for the family line to survive. Reven noticed the boy nod and Naruto's face had become enraged. When I asked Gramps about my parents, he would simply say they were deceased and try to change the subject. He did the same thing when I asked why people despise me and try to harm me. Do you understand why they despise me? Naruto looked up at Reven, who seemed hesitant to respond but decided that he couldn't make the same mistake as the Hokage. Naruto is my thing. It will be difficult for you to hear because the man who is partially responsible is also a member of your family, even though it was never done intentionally and had to be done in the end. Reven, seeing Naruto, had an eager expression on his face. Reven-sama, please tell me. Please. Naruto bowed before his ancestor, eager to learn what so many had denied him over the years. First and foremost, Naruto, do not refer to me as such until we have completed our training, and if not, Simply refer to me as master because you will be my apprentice as your father is. Speaking of your father, I regret to inform you that he was the one responsible for the village despising you when he wanted them to see you as a hero. Reven observed Naruto's wide blue eyes as they absorbed this information completely. A hero? Why would he ask them to do something they already do? Naruto was perplexed as to what possessed his father to do whatever he did. I'm assuming you're familiar with the story from 5 years ago about the attack by one nine-tailed demon Lord Fox known simply as Kyuubi? Reven saw the boy nod and his mind went back to what he remembered. Yeah. Isn't that how the Yondaime killed the demon? Naruto had heard the story from the old man who had told him about the demon being defeated on his birthday of all days. Naruto, he did not kill the demon. The creature resides within you. The Kyuubi was sealed inside you by the Yondaime Hokage. Reven noticed Naruto's eyes widen in shock at the news, and tears welled up in the boy's blue eyes. What? Me? Why? Why me? Naruto's mind was filled with so many thoughts, his heart was filled with betrayal, and both were filled with hatred. He couldn't give this task to another Naruto. He gave you this burden because it was something only a father could entrust to his son. Seeing Naruto look at him in shock at the fact that his own father had done this to him and then expect all of Konoha's ungrateful villagers to simply embrace that wish, said Reven. My father's name. Tell me, Naruto said, his voice full of sorrow, pain, anger, and frustration. Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, Reven said, seeing the boy's chakra manifest itself around him as his eyes flashed red with slit-like pupils before returning to normal. He's a jerk. Hate him. Damn it, father! Yelled Naruto, his voice breaking into an inhuman howl of agony that echoed throughout the Namikaze Estate's lower levels. What are your plans for the future, my apprentice? What will you do now that you know the truth? I have no intention of not teaching you my or your father's arts, but I have a right to know what you intend to do and how you intend to do it. Reven felt the chakra and the force itself echo the boy's pain, making everyone who felt that power tremble in fear. The villagers who are aware of Kyuubi's true nature regard me as a demon. I can't change their arrogant opinions of me, but I can influence the minds of the next generation. The ones who have not been poisoned by their parents, who do not harbor hatred in their hearts and turn the younger generation against the old. I will cause the old generation to be betrayed by their own children, just as I was, and I will make those fools kneel and cast everything they believe at my feet. I will take everything they cherish and destroy everything that means everything to them until their hands are stained with blood. Naruto's eyes remained crimson, and his teeth had grown sharper and more feral in appearance. Speaking like a true Reven descendant. Now, instead of learning about what your ancestor could do, you will learn about what your father could do, which will include visiting the estates upstairs to learn how to be a shinobi. When do you want to start? Reven saw the shaking still filled with rage and sorrow from what he had just learned. As soon as possible, Naruto said, his voice tired and as if he had just screamed for an hour. Very good. We'll start in this room at some point tomorrow. You must first consume some form of food, followed by additional rest. Your mind is tired and cannot function as it is right now. You'll need some time to process everything you've learned tonight. This house is guarded by advanced technology never seen outside of this place, and it has the power to protect you from anyone who would try to take you away from here. When Reven saw the boy nod, he got off the ground and left the room. Then I'll be in my room resting, master. Just have HK bring me something to eat, said Naruto as he exited the room to return to his. Once a young but so full of conflict. Was that really my true self? Reven pondered whether or not this was the case. There are no more shinobi in the area, master, and the shield is still active. Do you want to keep wearing the shield? HK-47 entered the room, seeing Reven's form still present. Yes. Because the shield generator is geothermal, there is no need to be concerned about losing the energy used to power the shields. Also, make something nutritious for Naruto, who is a little short for his age and quite skinny. Something I can unquestionably blame on the Konoha villagers, Reven sighed, not understanding how a holocron image could do that when it was only an image. If you want, Master, I could go on a killing spree just before detonating myself and causing an unspeakable amount of death to all those meatbags in the village, said HK-47, who was designed to serve as both a protocol droid and an assassin droid. There will be no need for HK. Also, I need you to gather 2 items for me to have ready to give to Naruto when he is ready, as well as take up a new Sith title like I did. Reven couldn't part with it or the Sith title because it was a part of him, and Naruto would feel the same way. Oh, yes, Master, I see what you mean. I'll make the young master's meal and then go get the items you'd like me to get, said HK-47 before turning to finish his assigned task. Meeting room, Hokage Tower. It had been a late-night meeting for everyone in the room, and despite the fact that it was a law that the Hokage had the power to summon them along with the clan heads on matters of great importance, the councils didn't like it one bit. This was, of course, one of those times, particularly when it came to Naruto, who had been the subject of numerous discussions, and the old Hokage predicted that there would be many more in the near future. The fact that they all sensed the powerful chakra spike was also a factor. This is inexcusable, Hokage-sama, exclaimed a fat member of the civilian council, who, like the majority of his council colleagues, was mostly overweight and had a stomach to rival an Akamichi if they tried. I concur. The boy should have been assigned to me as our prized weapon. Danzo was now getting nods from Homura and Kaharu, which made Sarutobi frown. Perhaps he should have been treated with kindness and love, as the Yondaime desired. Is going against a Hokage's dying wishes not low enough for you? Hiyashi observed the various members of the civilian and shinobi council scowling at him while returning the Hyuga. Tend to your own family, Hiyashi, and stay out of matters that do not concern you, said Haruno Hidoshi, a civilian council member who was a successful middle-class merchant with a high-class voice that ensured everyone heard his name and paid attention to him whether they wanted to or not. I'm Haruno, and I recommend that you do the same with your family. We now have an even bigger problem to deal with, as Uzumaki Naruto has discovered his family's home, which you have been attempting to deprive him of since his birth, and now that he has discovered it, he will no doubt learn the truth about the Kyuubi in him. Whoever lives within the Namikaze Estate is clearly a lost member of the clan, as they would not have had access to the estate otherwise. Minato installed traps, seals, and other defenses to keep power-hungry shinobi away from the house. I seem to recall a few Uchiha being caught in said traps while attempting to break into the Namikaze Estate. Hiyashi noticed the Uchiha clan head Fugaku glare at him with pure venom behind it. That authority should be transferred to the Uchiha clan for safekeeping. We've mastered everything else, so why not round it out by learning how to use seals? Fugaku believed that such power should be in the hands of the Uchiha clan, not in an old compound collecting dust. Because we all know that such power is not yours, period. If you want to be a seal maker, learn how to do it like the rest of the potential seal makers out there. Expect your Sharingan to not do everything for you. Fugaku activated his Sharingan and aimed it at the Hyuga head, who resisted its gaze with his Byakugan and showed no fear of the red eyes, said Hiyashi. Enough. It's clear that the two councils and clan head made a mistake by ignoring the Naruto issue. We should never have let the news of Kyuubi's sealing become public. Instead, we should have had clans like Hyuga, Aburame, Inuzuka, and Nara take the boy in to raise as their own. Now we must deal with the sins we have created through this boy and wait to see what Naruto does when he returns to decide our fate. Sarutobi observed the council's shock at the old Hokage's words. I'm going to let a demon judge me like hell. I refuse to let some abomination decide whether or not I should live for a few bad years like the animal I was born to be, said another civilian councilman, who was not fat, but very old, and had lost his home to the Kyuubi due to the swinging of one of its tails. You are not permitted to enter the Namikaze Estate. It is currently surrounded by an energy dome that we cannot penetrate with jutsus, weapons, or even our own bodies, said the Hokage, who was clearly depressed about the situation. What are we going to tell the public? Homura explained that when the boy was no longer present, people would suspect something and seek an explanation. We don't tell them anything for the time being because they don't need to know. Riots could add fuel to the fire, or if we change the information slightly, people may rejoice in believing Naruto is dead. If someone does ask and we have to respond, we should do so in a way that does not cause panic or celebration. Shibi had seen Naruto on good days, and how the boy seemed to treasure the life that was nature around him. It was one of the reasons he wanted to take Naruto into his home, which was unusual for the Aburame clan because only 2 people had ever been adopted into the clan, and that was during Konoha's early years. I say we prepare for the demon's return and kill him the moment he leaves his sanctuary, Fugaku said, drawing several glares from the other clan heads and Sarutobi himself. As Shibi-san stated, it could be months or even years before that energy field vanishes, leaving us with nothing to do but wait. You annoying Uchihas are always thinking you're better than everyone else. Nara Shikaku, despite the late hour, was awake because this situation required his brain to function more, and he needed to be heavily awake for this. The decision has been made. We're waiting for Naruto to emerge from his family's estate to see how we should react. However, we must not provoke him, or we risk igniting an explosive situation that we will be unable to control, said the Hokage, receiving a reluctant nod from Uchiha Fugaku, as well as the civilian and shinobi council members. Lower levels of Namikaze Estate. Naruto had awoken from a deep sleep to find himself back in his comfortable bed before going through his morning rituals of cleaning, eating, food brought to him by HK-47, and the stretches he had seen some shinobi perform before practicing. After that, Naruto changed into a cleaner version of yesterday's clothes and went to the training room from yesterday, which was filled with all of the holocrons that projected a version of his late ancestor. When Namikaze Reven entered the large room, the holocrons on both sides came to life and projected the warrior. The figure looked down at his student, his apprentice, and his great-grandson, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, who was kneeling before him to receive training instructions. My apprentice, I see you're well rested now. That is a good thing because we will be focusing on your mind at the start of your training before we focus on anything else. When Reven saw Naruto nod, he hoped it wasn't too difficult because his mind couldn't stay focused for long. What will I be learning concerning my mind, my master? Asked Naruto, recalling Reven's remark about calling him master of Reven-sama if necessary. First, take a meditative position and clear your mind of all thoughts. Before we can use chakra, we must first learn how to use the force. While sitting in the meditative position, Reven made Naruto look up at the projection. What is the force? What exactly is the force, Master Reven? Naruto had never heard of this term before and wondered if it was another chakra base. Naruto, the force is an energy that comes from nature. It envelops us, penetrates us, and connects us to all living things. Because of the people who use chakra Naruto, it is extremely rare for anyone in this world to have any connection to the force. Most people dismiss it as psychic abilities bestowed by kami, but it is the force that grants them their abilities and distinguishes them from others. Given your lineage and the Kyuubi living inside of you unwillingly helping to increase your chakra reserves, you Naruto have the ability to use both. Reven noticed Naruto nod in comprehension, realizing that Reven was a very straightforward teacher who didn't bore you to sleep with lectures. Amino Iruka, meanwhile, let out a powerful sneeze that turned him into his bed's headboard and woke him up with a painful headache. What should I do, Master, about the Kyuubi? Naruto knew that such a demon that was currently sealed inside of him could not be ignored and had to be handled carefully. Nothing for the time being, my apprentice. To help with the amount you have and will have in the future, you will need to do a lot of chakra control exercises. To aid in this process, I want you to immediately learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu your father possesses, which is located in the main library under the Junin class level scrolls. Reven, seeing the boy nod, was perplexed by the order, and Naruto felt compelled to inquire about it. Why, master? Asked Naruto, because the reasoning behind it would help him understand the method. The shadow clones are exact replicas of the original Naruto. They use a large amount of chakra to create a few, and even more to create a small army. You will learn this technique to hone your shinobi skills, while the real you will stay here to train under me and help you grow at an astounding rate that no one has ever seen before. Reven found Naruto to be a proficient student in wanting to ask questions and grow in doing so, as that is how a student grows. By asking questions and comprehending the answers. Master Reven is clear to me. I will do this immediately following today's force training with you. Naruto's voice was filled with such seriousness when he spoke that the projection of Reven found it almost chilling, and the persona created from the mixture of the many holocrons found this very interesting. Good. As of now, that will be your title when we train. I'll call you that and no other name until I decide otherwise.
When I deem you strong enough, I will bestow upon you a title that reflects you through the Force, as many masters have done with their apprentices during my time, and it will be the name you will be known by outside these walls to many, with your true name known to a few. Reven observed the boy nod while kneeling on the smooth floor.
I await your instructions, Master, Naruto said, confident that he would excel in his force training and make his family proud while making his enemies kneel in defeat. Before killing them. Excellent work, my apprentice. We'll start by contacting the force itself. Enter a meditative state and clear your mind of all thoughts. While doing this, think of nothing and expand your senses outward. Do not oppose it. Accept it. Heed its call and concentrate on the whispers that reverberate throughout the force, waiting to be heard by you. Reven noticed Naruto concentrating his mind and began to hear the force whispering to him. I can make it out. I can hear so many people's voices. From Konoha and those who are not. This is amazing. Amazing. Thought Naruto as he found himself hearing voices in Konoha and beyond its walls. I can't wait for that demon brat to show up tomorrow. I'm going to sever his intestines with this butcher knife, yelled a Konoha citizen, making Naruto enraged at the smug-looking man, wishing someone would cut that man's guts out instead. I'm curious why Mom had to attend another council meeting so late. Was it because of the blonde-haired boy whom some adults warn children to avoid? He doesn't appear to be dangerous. Why is he referred to as a demon? The dog beside her began moving around as if sensing something was near its master, making Naruto slightly concerned that the dog could somehow detect him, said a female voice coming from the Inuzuka clan home. Mother is G getting sicker with EHP passing D-Day and S carrying she's my future brother or sister in her belly, said a sad girl from the Hyuga clan, making Naruto sad because the girl was so scared for the one she loved. Why do people flee from me? Why am I unable to sleep at night? Why am I seeing a terrifying monster? Said a boy far away from Konoha who seemed tormented in a similar way, and it made Naruto frown when he sensed a dark entity inside the boy that screamed for the blood of those around the child. He's like me, Naruto thought as he saw the twisted spirit tied to the other boy. More than you know, Kit, said another strange voice that wasn't Reven's, causing Naruto to disconnect and jump to his feet while looking around. What's the matter, Naruto? Reven noticed the boy, who was terrified like a mouse in a house full of cats. I think I just heard. The Kyuubi, Naruto said, noticing Reven's projected form shift for a second, as if contemplating something, but then return to normal, as if nothing had happened. That is to be expected given that the demon is linked to you and may be able to sense the force in the same way you do. Fortunately, from what I understand about the seal on you, the demon cannot use it against you, and the seal is used as a medium to bring balance to you. It will be difficult and even dangerous, but I am confident that you will be able to trust your instincts enough to know when to back off when things become too dangerous, and that you will allow me to guide you throughout your training. Reven returned to his meditations after seeing Naruto nod again before bowing. What should I do if I run into Kyuubi again, Master? Said Naruto, as he let the force cover his entire being and found himself back where he started. Show no fear, be mindful of facing the beast, and do not bend its demands no matter how tempting the offer, said Reven as he entered mediation with his student. What if the offer is true? Said Naruto, posing a hypothetical question to his master's projection. Relay the offer to me, and I will decide if it has value, Reven said, knowing that any offer from the Demon Lord could be a ruse, and that speaking to him was the best way to deal with it. Yes, Master, Naruto said, diving deep into the force once more, only to find himself in a dark area filled with ankle-high water. It was a good thing Naruto was wearing combat boots because it would have felt strange otherwise. So you've come here. At long last, said the deep voice from behind Naruto, who now had wide eyes and slowly turned around to face the demon that had been sealed inside him. Kyuubi, Naruto said, his voice tinged with fear, anger, and possibly excitement. It's difficult to tell when you're staring at a massive nine-tailed fox with fiery eyes. You came here while meditating with the Force. I must admit that I had some assistance in doing so because I wanted to speak with you and perhaps have a brief conversation with you, said the Kyuubi, his eyes burning red as he looked down at Naruto. About what, if I may ask? Said Naruto, keeping his distance from the cage, knowing that the bars on the cage that held the beast could still cause him harm with the fox's large claws. About us working together, son of the Yondaime, Kyuubi said, cruelly grinning at its vessel, as Naruto scowled at the Demon Lord. Don't call me that or I'll rip every single tail you have off one by one, Naruto said as he stared at the fox, his eyes a steel-cold blue. Did I bring up a sensitive subject? What do you think I'm thinking? What do you know about the Sharingan, Kit? When the Kyuubi saw the boy frown at the question, he spoke up. Nothing. What exactly is it? Naruto noticed Kyuubi's playful smile fade before it became serious looking. The Sharingan is a bloodline found only in the Uchiha clan. A clan that I helped form after a Hyuga branch member begged me like a whimpering puppy to free him from cage birdseal. This same Uchiha, Madara, summoned me against my will to attack Konoha. You may find this surprising, Kit, but I am not the savage demon your village portrays me to be, and I find it insulting that they regard me as you. Kyuubi noticed Naruto's eyes widen at this information because it meant Kyuubi had been framed with him for something someone else did. Okay. Say that I believe you. Assume you got the raw end of a deal you had no say in, as I did. What am I getting out of this conversation with you? Naruto's instincts told him that the Kyuubi was telling the truth, and that the fox wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be. I want to make a deal with you while I can, Kyuubi said, seeing the boy frown at the fox's suggestion and wondering what the fox meant. What exactly do you mean? What kind of deal is it? Naruto took a cautious step forward, bracing himself for the impending strike from the fox, its claws digging through the bars at his head. It never arrived. When you reach a certain age, I will be permanently sealed within you, with no way out, and before you ask why I haven't done this before, I will tell you. You see, in order for me to be released from my prison, I need to be helped from the other side by you, Naruto, and it is only through you that I will be able to achieve freedom. Now, before you reject this offer to free me, I want you to understand the benefits of what will happen if I carry out my plan, and what it means for both of us. When Kyuubi saw Naruto nod his head, he decided it was only fair to listen to the deal rather than ignore it. Go on, Naruto said, waiting for the Demon Lord to explain the plan and the agreement. If you agree to release me from my prison, I can make you a half-demon with half of my tails going to you and the other half going to me. While I will be free to the outside world, I will remain bound to you and will give you the other half of my tailed power. Of course, I'll get it back eventually, but only after the tails I have go back to you and you get everything. I will be the equivalent of a servant to you until I am truly free from the seal and all of my tails are given to you. The end result will make you a demon lord like me, but only after you reach the age of 18 and your physical body has fully matured and reached its peak performance level. Kyuubi observed the boy taking in all of this information and appearing to be thinking about it. How long until the deadline for this deal expires? Asked Naruto, wanting to discuss it with Reven and decide whether or not to proceed. 3 years from now, when the moon turns blood red, Kyuubi said, seeing the boy nod before turning to leave this place in his mind where he could communicate with the fox. Before I accept your offer, I'd like to discuss it with Master Reven, and if he believes you're sincere in your intentions, we'll move forward with this plan. However, if your words about this plan are poisonous, I will not speak to you again and will wait for the day when you are finally gone, said Naruto before completely exiting his mind. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I can wait a little longer, and my intentions are pure despite the precautionary measures you'd like to put between us. When the time comes, I'll be free, and then the fun can begin for the old generation of Konoha. Just as you envisioned, Kyuubi said this before transforming into a human form the age of a late 16 or early 17-year-old female with flowing crimson hair and tails that moved to cover her private areas. Oh, Kyuubi could wait, and when she was done waiting, she would see that everything that had been predicted in the distant future came true. Naruto stayed in the Namikaze Estate for several years, living in the upper levels and the lower level when he was too tired from training to head up to his other bed. During that time, Naruto had learned a lot about chakra, jutsus, and the ways of the force from his multiple holocron-created teacher. Unfortunately, when it came to learning how to be a shinobi, Naruto discovered that he had to learn by doing because he didn't trust the old man to teach him anything if the shield was broken, and the risk of the Hokage abducting Naruto if given the chance was too great. Despite this, Naruto persisted, using his father's notes, books, and anything else his baka of a father had in the house that would help him become a skilled warrior of the shinobi arts. When Reven asked why he wasn't following in his father's footsteps as a shinobi, Naruto told the holocron-created image that he wasn't and that he wasn't going to become a shinobi. He'd become a Jedi like Reven, but he'd also use the shinobi arts when they were needed, and it couldn't hurt to have them in case he became exhausted from constantly using the Force. Naruto used various swords before progressing to training-level lightsabers to perform the various sword arts and hand-to-hand combat moves Reven learned during his time in the Mandalorian Wars. The fighting style was a hybrid of Ichani and Mandalorian combat techniques, making it even more potent. Reven explained to Naruto that each skill he uses with the Force is aligned with either the dark or light side, with each providing the user with unique powers. Naruto had previously learned how to use the Force to heal people using the light side and to harm people using the dark side's Sith lightning. However, as Naruto later discovered, despite having a lot of hate in his system from multiple sources, the Sith lightning takes a lot out of a Force user and needed to be better controlled. In addition to this training, Naruto learned more about his ancestor, the Republic, the Jedi, the Sith, and the Mandalorian Wars Reven fought in before being thrown into a Jedi civil war. Naruto didn't understand this Jedi Council, because those who judged you without being on the front lines of war had no right to do so, and it reminded Naruto a lot of the two councils in Konoha who always tried to judge him because of Kyuubi. Reven also told Naruto about the original HK-47, how Reven created him many years ago to be an assassin droid while disguised as a protocol droid, and how he had always had a high level of bloodlust, even for an assassin droid. Of course, Reven had also explained that, unlike the original HK-47, the one in the house no longer added the words statement or query before saying sentences, and that the current HK-47 had been modified to speak without doing so. Naruto felt various echoes throughout the force from within and without Konoha over the years during his time meditations. Naruto felt pain from the Hyuga household through a shy little girl named Hinata, who had recently been granted a little baby sister named Hanabi. However, it came at the expense of losing her mother and giving her now bereaved father a way to vent his rage on her for the loss. The man knew it wasn't her fault, but Hinata was still hated for the terrible loss of her mother, and her cousin Neji was no help either, having lost his father in an incident with Kumo when Hinata was 3 years old. Another soul Naruto sensed in pain was Anko, a purple-haired woman who despised the fact that people mistook her for her backstabbing sensei and treated her as such. She'd been attacked by both villager and shinobi, with only the Sandaime and another scarred man named Ibiki protecting her. Several rape attempts were made on Anko, but they all failed after she used what training she remembered from her time with Orochimaru and later from Ibiki to fend off her attackers. What idiots these people are. I look forward to breaking them down the road, Naruto thought as he wished to help those who were suffering but discovered that he wasn't strong enough despite his increasing rate of skill. Outside the village, the pain was the same, as Naruto sensed the boy he had felt years before, known simply as Subaku no Gaara, and that he, too, was a demon vessel. The only difference was that Gaara's seal was incomplete, making the boy unstable, and what happened to the boy's uncle when he was 6 years old made the boy embrace his hatred for the world. Naruto had appeared in front of Subaku no Gaara several times when he was alone, using the force to speak to the insomniac boy, but Gaara kept trying to kill him or tell him to leave him alone, thinking it was Shukaku playing tricks on his mind. He used the projection on Hinata, but she became terrified, thinking he was a ghost, and it took several attempts to calm her down so she wouldn't make a scene. It had taken some time, but Hinata had been able to open up to him after Naruto assured her that he meant no harm and wished to assist her in becoming a better person despite what had occurred at her home. Hinata had become depressed as a result of her mother's death and her father taking it out on her by calling her worthless. Naruto explained that her mother's death was not her fault, as such things happen from time to time, and that she should demonstrate to her father that she was indeed strong. When Hinata inquired about his name, Naruto advised her to refer to him as the Namikaze, and to keep their conversations private because no one would believe them. The only issue Naruto had was that the projection was difficult to perform, even in Konoha, where he tested it further on cold windy nights, frightening citizens into thinking there were ghosts around and scaring them half to death. The idea of such a skill being used as a prank was entertaining, but Reven had told him that was not what the technique was for, and that he should use it during the day to listen to the academy teacher's lectures to better understand the ways of the shinobi, as well as secretly spying on the younger generation to see who he could corrupt to his side. Naruto reluctantly agreed to use the projection during class while listening to the teachers talk about the fundamentals of being a shinobi, the history of Konoha, and famous people in Konoha, with the death of Kyuubi appearing to be the favorite. Naruto despised those lectures about how the Yondaime was able to slay the stupid demon, and while he had no love for Kyuubi at the time, despite the deal she presented, he despised the people of Konoha even more. Surprisingly, Naruto discovered that with more concentration, he could use the force in the classroom to cause a little chaos and mercilessly prank the stupid teachers. One of his favorite, as well as possibly the most exhausting, pranks was making a teacher lose control of his or her bowels and have them crap their pants during one of their lectures. The teacher would make a loud farting noise, drawing the students' attention to the brownish stain leaking through the teacher's pants. Konoha's doctors and nurses were perplexed by this and suspected it was some kind of stress-related disease caused by teaching students at the academy for so long. Speaking of the doctors and nurses of Konoha, Naruto had a good time pranking them as well, because they had always treated Naruto poorly when he was hospitalized due to previous beatings, and had always given him worthless meds. He would push up the nurses' skirts in front of doctors and patients to reveal what kind of pants they wore, causing several male patients to have nosebleeds while some, the wives, filed sexual harassment lawsuits, nearly causing the nurses to be fired. The doctors were plagued by the same trouser malfunction, which caused them to flash their female patients and get in trouble with the Hokage because he had to deal with all the paperwork for it. Still, pranks aside, Naruto felt compelled to leave the Namikaze Estate, but knew that doing so now would land him in hot water, and Reven would be furious. Besides, Kyuubi's offer from years ago was still on the table, and while Reven had said that it was a good deal, Naruto should seek guidance from the Force on this matter. Naruto did the same. Naruto, like Reven, could see into the future and the consequences of his actions by accepting or rejecting the offer while waiting those few years to determine the outcome. According to the visions, the offer was genuine, as Kyuubi desired freedom and was willing to give up her power for it, knowing that she could reclaim it all later, even if she was still bound to Naruto as his servant at the time. When Naruto presented his findings to the holocron image of Reven, the image of the once great Jedi suggested that Naruto accept the offer and become a half-demon before ascending to full demon status in the coming years. The village was going to see him as a demon anyway, so why not grant them their wish? Naruto decided to accept the Kyuubi's offer while in the open field of his estate, giving him the necessary space to prevent any damage to the house. Mindscape of Naruto. So you finally arrived. After several years of waiting, I actually suspected you were going to reject me and let me die slowly inside of you, said Kyuubi, now in her giant fox form, despite him knowing she was a female demon from his visions while mediating. Sorry. I was busy with my training, and your offer was something I couldn't just accept right away, Naruto explained, recalling Reven's warning about succumbing to temptation when it did more harm than good, and telling him to learn to control such thoughts. Nearly 3 years? Less than a week before the deadline? Kyuubi raised a large fur-covered brow at him, and Naruto simply shrugged. When it comes to making deals, I need to be cautious. I needed to look into the future to see whether the events of such an agreement would be a blessing or a curse. Would you prefer I not take you up on your offer without even telling you until I needed to speak with you again? Asked Naruto, seeing the look on Kyuubi's fox-like features and knowing she agreed with him even if she wouldn't admit it. You make an excellent point. So, you want to close the deal? Kyuubi said this because she needed to willingly agree to this and actually say he agreed for it to be legal. Kami, too, had eyes in this place. Yes. I, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, willingly accept your deal made by you, Kyuubi no Kitsune, to become a half-demon, and later a full demon in exchange for giving you freedom, Naruto said, having learned much about demons and the deals they make in exchange for things they themselves cannot achieve in his father's library. The agreement has been reached. To prove that the deal is official, I must claw you with my mark. Step forward to receive the means to become a half-demon, Kyuubi said, moving closer to the cage and waiting for Naruto to be within striking distance. I am prepared. See you on the outside, Naruto said, as if he were speaking to an inmate who had just been released for good behavior. Same goes for you too. Naruto-kun, Kyuubi said, raising Naruto's brow just before the fox demon struck with her claws piercing his right shoulder and then sent a massive pulse of demonic chakra into it, leaving a scar on him forever. Most people would mistake it for a tattoo. Naruto screamed in agony, staggering back in his mindscape, knowing he was physically experiencing this on the outside, and spraying blood all over the room where his master was. Clutching the massive wound, Naruto felt the entire environment change around him, his body feel out of place, and his consciousness strayed out of what realm of time he was in. Hokage Tower Office of the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed at the mountain of paperwork required to keep Konoha alive and running the village, which lay in this plentiful pile of dead trees remade into writing material. Originally, the councils were supposed to do their own paperwork before sending it to the Hokage for approval of each stamp they made on each document, but over time, the councils had taken liberties by delegating all of the work to the Hokage, who could do whatever they wanted. Not exactly a fair trade. I get stuck doing paperwork while they all relax and plot to destroy the last of Minato's legacy, reflected the Sandame, wondering if things could get any worse for him, and if they could they please take him away from the paperwork? People should be very careful about what they ask for. Soon after Sarutobi made that silent little wish, the old man received it in the form of a massive demonic charka spike emanating from the Namikaze Estate, and if he felt it, everyone else did as well. It wasn't as powerful as what was felt years ago, but it was still pretty massive, as the amount given off was more than enough to wipe Konoha and all that lived within it off the face of the planet. Oh crap, Sarutobi said as he walked out to the Namikaze Estate, knowing that every shinobi in Konoha, from Chunin to Anbu to clan heads, would be there. Oh, Sarutobi wished he hadn't accidentally killed his lucky fish. From the Namikaze Estate, the once retired Hokage arrived with what appeared to be hundreds, if not all, of the village's shinobi at the large estate that once belonged to the Yondaime and was still covered by the strange energy dome. The large army of shinobi inside the dome saw Naruto lying face down on the ground with crimson chakra surrounding his being, and many shinobi feared that the boy had unleashed the Kyuubi to exact revenge for their cruel past mistreatment of him. Several shinobi had attempted to pierce the energy dome, only to be thrown backwards into their comrades who had caught them. What do we do, Hokage-sama? Kakashi wondered, having left Anbu to become a Junin in order to possibly teach a genin team. Pray, the Hokage said quietly as the manifestation of the Kyuubi's face appeared above Naruto's fallen form, roaring with rage and power before landing next to Naruto and transforming into a physical human body. I'm liberated. Yes, exclaimed Kyuubi in her human form, with her now human-sounding voice, as she bounced around, relieved to be free of her cage and back in the world. At that moment, every male shinobi who saw her got a nosebleed and flew away in all directions at the sight of her naked female body. Kyuubi decided to have some, if only a little, modesty after putting the males of the leaf in such a state, and snapped her fingers to create a smooth crimson kimono that did little to hide her sexy body. Kyuubi picked up a now changed Namikaze Naruto and held him tightly to her bosom, turning to the one who had freed her from her Shinigami prison. Kyuubi, Naruto said weakly, looking up at her with tired eyes, wondering if what he was seeing was real at the moment. Good day, Naruto-kun. You must be exhausted as a result of what I did. At least your wound is healing nicely, though I'm afraid it will leave a scar, Kyuubi said, noticing the now shirtless boy's chest had a scar on it from being clawed downward. Well, you did kind of stab me with those claws of yours, Naruto said weakly before chuckling at her smiling at him. I know, but don't worry, because I'm not going to hurt you anymore, and I'm going to help make things up to you, Kyuubi said, kissing his forehead, which now had a few strands of red hair here and there. I feel sleepy, Naruto admitted, discovering that he was more tired from the process than he had anticipated. Let's get you to bed then, Kyuubi said as she led him inside for some well-deserved rest, knowing that Naruto would be out of it for a while and would need to regain control of his body now that it had changed. Hokage-sama, something must be done. The demon is free and inside the Namikaze Estate with the boy, and Anbu wondered, unsure what they could do. We can't do anything. Call a meeting of all the shinobi elites, the two councils, and the clan heads. We need to figure this out in case things go wrong, said the elderly Hokage, knowing that there was still time to devise a strategy to deal with this new development. Jiraiya, where were you when you needed him? Master bedroom, Namikaze Estate. Now, Naruto-kun, sleep well. You foxy servant has things to do and people to talk to, Kyuubi said, kissing him on the forehead and tucking the boy into bed before leaving to speak with Reven in the lower levels. Kyuubi was making her way down to the lower levels when she came across HK-47, who paused in seeing her and decided to keep playing as the protocol droid for the time being until it was appropriate to remove this new guest. Hello, strange female. May I assist you? HK-47 wondered who this woman was and why she had animal-like characteristics like a fox. Yes, HK-47, I would like to speak with Reven. I am the former demonic tenant of one Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, also known as Kyuubi no Kitsune to many. Kyuubi explained as the droid processed this information. Ah, yes. You are the demon fox that the younger master despises. It's a shame he had to go through all of that agony because of those conceited meatbags in the village. I hope you intend to kill a good chunk of them before giving the young master his chance at the rest, HK-47 said as he led Kyuubi to the room where Naruto spoke with Reven, learning everything he could about the Force in the man's past. Soon after they entered, a holocron projection of Namikaze Reven appeared before them, arms crossed and staring at Kyuubi. I take it the deal went through and Naruto is still alive? Reven observed that Kyuubi only had 412 tails, implying that Naruto had the others. Certainly, Reven-sama. The agreement I made with Naruto will be fully honored, as I promised, and I will never break a promise like those disgusting humans in the village. If I did, I would be lower than them, and I refuse to be lower than those insects who believe they are invincible because I was defeated by their strongest warrior, Kyuubi said. Her pride hurt a little at that last part because she was, after all, the strongest of the demon lords. Good. This action, however, may have complicated matters, as HK has informed me of the estate sensors detecting an army of shinobi arriving here upon your freedom to no doubt investigate the situation, and having seen you regain your lost freedom. When Naruto has recovered from this ordeal, I'd like you to teach him demonic arts that he can learn with the tails he has, and then help him relearn what he already knows. The latter part shouldn't be too difficult because it's like riding a bike, so I want you to do that part last with him, as I need him to be learning from you without the help of the shadow clones, and relearn everything from scratch, said Reven, implying that Naruto's connection to the Force would have to be retested. Of course, but before I do that, I want to have a little fun with Konoha again, because I rather like the pranks Naruto pulled on the people here, and I want to help continue it while he's busy sleeping, Kyuubi said wickedly to Reven, who simply nodded in understanding. That's excellent. If things get too much for you, Kyuubi, I want you to come back here where it's safe and they won't try to use you to get Naruto away from here. You are not as strong as you were before, and while they will be cautious at first, it will only take one of them to exploit it when seen, Reven said, knowing that Naruto had wanted to give Kyuubi the benefit of the doubt regarding the deal she made with him years ago, but even so, the possibility of the demon still having ulterior motives was a high probability, and she would have to be watched more carefully until a solid amount of proof showed that she was indeed trustworthy. Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to making their lives miserable before Naruto-kun does it himself, Kyuubi said, letting a wicked chuckle escape her mouth and then transform into an evil laugh, her eyes glowing crimson red. Master, it appears that the fox-based female is having one of those moments, similar to mine, when I plan to harm an arrogant meatbag, and is going to carry it out with extreme efficiency, said HK-47, who still didn't understand the term demonic, but in his own databank's definition, it basically meant someone who has the will to do unspeakable things to another, and caused almost unlimited amount of pain to another with little to no remorse. Yes, HK, I believe she is, Reven said as Kyuubi walked out of the room, clawed hands rubbing together, ready to inflict some sort of sadistic pain on someone. The Hokage Tower. The demon has finally been released from its prison. I could tell the Yondaime was a moron. No matter how skilled the seal master, such a creature as the Kyuubi cannot be contained, said Uchiha Fugaku, scowling at the situation in front of him and the numerous attempts to have the boy killed turned down. Perhaps this wouldn't have happened if we had been nice to the boy instead of calling for his death and the constant hunts for him on his birthday, Sarutobi said, seeing the many people in the room squirming uneasily, as they had been responsible in some way for the boy's mistreatment, and those who hadn't were still nervous given they didn't know anything about the boy's mental stability. Or, for that matter, insecurity. What do you want us to do then? Shower him with gifts? Solicit forgiveness? We defeated the demon once before, and I believe we can do so again. All we need to do is summon the Shinigami again and reseal it before killing its tenant soon after, said Homura, receiving nods from both the civilian and shinobi councils. And for what purpose, Homura-san, do you perform the sealing again? You? Me? Is there anyone here with little to no sealing experience? The only ones who could do such sealing would be the Yondaime or Jiraiya of the Sannin, but neither are here at the moment despite the fact that Kyuubi's power was felt throughout the elemental countries, and is now returning to investigate, said Hiyashi, looking on at the council members attempting some stupid idea that would almost certainly fail, and everyone would pay the price. Hyuga Hiyashi had become cold, almost cruel to his eldest daughter Hinata, and constantly belittled after his wife died not long after giving birth to Hanabi. However, Hinata has recently grown stronger, but she has retained her caring nature, which was frowned upon by the elders and which Hiyashi had been drawn to in regards to his late wife. She had been the same way, telling Hiyashi that the cage bird seal was cruel and earning the branch family's respect for her open beliefs in opposing such a cruel seal. Hizashi had also expressed such sentiments to him privately, as he wanted his brother to understand that if the seal truly protected one from learning the secrets of the Byakugan, it should be worn by all members of the family, not just those who became slaves against their will. Hiyashi had come to an agreement with Hinata when he was 3 years old to protect him and the clan from losing the secrets their bloodline held. Now it appeared that fate's cruel hand was going to point a finger at one of his own children and mark one of them with the cage bird seal. Hanabi was making remarkable progress, but so was Hinata, and when Hiyashi asked how she gained this newly discovered strength, the poor girl blushed and said it was due to a guiding spirit. Hinata had last blushed like that when she was 4.5 years old, rushing to both of them and telling them how another boy her age had saved her from being picked on by a group of boys. One with raging sun hair and deep blue eyes like lakes you wanted to swim in and never leave. Of course, both parents knew she was referring to Uzumaki Naruto. Defend him, Hiyashi-kun. Fight for him when no one else will, Hitomi said as she lay in her bed looking up at her husband, who nodded knowing that his wife was always a good judge of character and wanted to give the Yondaime the benefit of the doubt regarding his sealing skills. Not to mention that there will be no newborn babies anytime soon. And if we did, I would use one of your council members' child because it will make you realize how precious your child is, and understand the ramifications of treating the Yondaime's son like garbage, said the Sandame, making many people in the room flinch because they had learned the truth and were feeling bad at the time. You humans are such stupid beings. Always rushing into things, Kyuubi said, appearing through a flare of fire that blinded everyone in the room for a good 10 seconds before they could see her form. It's the demon, exclaimed a civilian council member, noticing the fox ears and numerous tails that added to her physical beauty. How perceptive of you. And to think, I almost thought your minds were so inferior that I thought you were all a bunch of feces-throwing ape-like bakas, Kyuubi said sarcastically to them before staring at Sarutobi, who narrowed his eyes at her, which made her smirk multiply several-fold. I'm not sure how you got out of your cage, demon, but I'm not going to stand for it, and I'm going to make sure you are. Fugaku had risen from his seat during his speech and activated his eyes to use on the female demon, said Fugaku. He lost his eyes as a result of a single swipe from Kyuubi, who now held them in her hand and crushed them in front of everyone. The Uchiha clan is still as arrogant as ever, Kyuubi said before turning her gaze to the old Hokage, who was trying hard not to show his fear but was gradually failing. I take it you didn't come here to pay a visit and have the Uchiha clan head's eyes removed for his outburst? Said the Sandame, trying to be as diplomatic as possible because such things allowed more lives to be saved rather than lost. Without a doubt. Doing that to the Uchiha was purely incidental. I'm here to talk about Naruto-kun, and how I'm particularly dissatisfied with how he was treated early in his life. Given who his father was, I would have expected you filthy humans to go out of your way to spoil him silly, but instead you do the opposite, and have attempted to kill him on numerous occasions. And for what purpose? To have a chance at hurting me? Please. I didn't feel a single jolt of pain during all of the times Naruto was attacked for your noble reasons. It doesn't matter because Naruto despises his father, all of you, and the village for your past sins. Sins that, I'm sure, will be paid for in full with your blood, and, more importantly, your souls. Kyuubi spoke up, her eyes glowing crimson and her fangs visible to all, causing several council members on both sides to shiver. The boy will not murder us. It would be a betrayal of his father's legacy as the defender of this village and Konoha's hero. Koharu disliked the way this demon stood before them and wished the creature would simply die. Oh, he's not going to, is he? How did you find out? Did you get along with him? Did any of you try to take him in when he was unhappy at the orphanage? Did you give him non-spoiled food? Who cared about my vessel when I was inside of him shielding him from the villagers and shinobi who tried to kill him time and again? Kyuubi said this while folding her arms under her nicely shaped breasts and staring at everyone in the room. You are correct. None of us have made a genuine attempt to befriend him. Sarutobi dejectedly removed his hat to run his hand through his white-aged hair, and the look in his eyes was solemn. Hokage-sama. Don't let this demon sway us. You must defend the honor of this village and the people of Konoha. Danzo was trying to gain support from those around him for standing up for them when the Hokage wouldn't. Why? What Kyuubi has said in this room is completely true. Minato told us with his dying breath that Naruto was to be viewed as a hero, to be loved as a hero should be for what he held inside, but instead we see the civilian council using its power to prevent Naruto from receiving his inheritance. You, Danzo, wanted to control the boy as if he were a weapon, and it was because I refused that you decided to side with them in the matter, with my two teammates in your pocket. Sarutobi glared at his former teammates, causing them to look away with a scowl on their faces. Hokage, you certainly look old. So, now that we've taken care of that, I'm going to lay down some ground rules for everyone so that everyone is clear on what's going to happen with Naruto, and if you break them, I'll make sure that what's left of you is sent to your grandkids for their birthday. Kyuubi said this, making several of the old shinobi and civilians in the room sweat because they didn't want to die just yet. Can you explain your terms, Kyuubi-sama? Sume had been trying to find a way to get Naruto into her compound for protection when he was younger, but couldn't find anything, and the councils were becoming a major headache for the clan heads right now. First and foremost, I want Naruto to have free roaming access to any and all areas, just like the Sannin, which cannot be revoked when he is not present. If you do, Naruto has every right to return here, slaughter all of you, and burn this village to the ground with zeal. Second, Naruto can harm any and all shinobi and civilians who have attempted to harm him in the past without repercussions, and if you do, I'll personally ensure that both genders in this room never have children. Third, Naruto is to have a seat on this massive council of clan heads, which I will be taking a seat in because he is still too young to do so himself, and I will be treated with the same respect as if I were a Namikaze as well. Any reservations? Said Kyuubi before unleashing her power, causing most of the shinobi in the room to sweat and the others to breathe heavily in preparation for passing out. And no objections. Exclaimed Sarutobi, wishing the she-demon would stop using her power, which felt like she was crushing their windpipes. Good. Please excuse me while I go tell Naruto-kun when he wakes up and assist him in causing as much mischief as possible. Kyuubi skipped out the door, an evil grin on her face. Minato, I'm so sorry, Sarutobi thought as he struggled to regain normal breathing and find a way to make amends to Naruto. Hours later, Namikaze Estate master bedroom. Naruto groaned as he awoke tired from what he had done to free Kyuubi, and found himself in his home's master bedroom, struggling to get up while feeling as if he had gained a couple 100 pounds. Naruto finally got out of bed after several failed attempts, only to fall flat on his face and utter a string of curse words he didn't know he knew, and wondered if it was because Kyuubi implanted them in his head during the transformation. He'd have to make a mental note to speak with her about it. Walking into the room, Naruto noticed that even with the lights turned off, he could see clearly in the dark, and remembered that his senses had been greatly enhanced by the transformation. Naruto examined his face in the mirror, nearly jumping back in surprise when he saw himself, resisting the urge to turn on a light because he knew what would happen if he did see his own reflection. Not only had his face changed, but so had the rest of him, as he had grown taller from 4 feet 3 to 5 feet 4, and his face had burned away much of his baby fat, revealing chiseled looks of what he would look like in the near future. His upper body wasn't bad either, as he noticed his body had hardened muscle, or rather harder muscles, as a result of being a half-demon, as he already had such muscle. Naruto's hands now had claws, which came as no surprise to him, and he was looking forward to putting them to good use. "I have this sudden urge to hurt some people from my past," Naruto said as he fisted his claw and smiled into the mirror as his blue eyes turned red and his pupils became slits. Naruto could feel bloodlust coursing through his body, making him want to train hard today, as the crimson tails behind him swished with movement. With that in mind, Naruto went to his closet and dressed, noting that HK-47 had been in his room to give him new larger clothing sizes after measuring him properly. Something Naruto was thankful for because he didn't want to wear tight clothes that made him feel tighter down south, which from what he saw looked longer than before, and he felt proud of it for some reason. He needed to speak with Reven about it. Naruto found Kyuubi sitting on the couch, snacking on fruit, vegetables, and gourmet cheese while drinking a bottle of fresh sake, as he walked down the steps of his house. She appeared to be having the time of her life, reveling in the delights before her, and Naruto wondered if she had yet spilled anyone's guts over the Hokage monument. Or was she going to let him if he wanted to? "So you've finally woken up, I see. Excellent." Kyuubi sensed her new master through their link and discovered that the boy had grown quite a bit for his half-demon stage. "I have some questions for you, and I hope you'll answer them honestly," Naruto said, sitting in the chair opposite her and wrapping his tails around himself. "Without a doubt. It would be unthinkable for me to deceive my new sexy master." Kyuubi expressed her admiration for the boy's appearance, knowing that by the time he was fully matured, he would have an army of women vying for his children. "Thank you. I believe."
Anyway, about my changes, is there any way to hide them because a lot of people aren't exactly welcome to me being around while looking human, and I don't want people outside of the village to know about it either. Naruto blushed slightly as a result of Kyuubi's remark, while Kyuubi herself nodded in agreement, as the boy desired friends and allies outside of the village.
"You certainly can. Right now, you are in a Yuko form, with tails, ears, and claws that show off your new fox heritage, and with a little focus on your part, you will be able to keep those tails hidden." Kyuubi saw the boy look relieved because it would give him a chance to make friends outside of the village. "Okay. Kyuubi-sensei, I'd like to start training right away." Naruto observed the foxwoman nod at him. "Very good. When I'm finished teaching you for the day, go talk to Reven about relearning the force and regaining control. He said it wouldn't be difficult, so I believe you'll be able to handle it easily enough." Kyuubi stood up from the couch and handed her student a tray of various eatable treats. "Many thanks, Kyuubi-sensei. I had been starving up until now." Naruto began eating a little bit of everything and enjoyed the taste of it. "No problem, Naruto-kun, but please don't add sensei to my name. Instead, call me Kyuubi or, if you prefer, Kyuubi-chan." When Kyuubi saw Naruto nod, she knew he didn't know why, and she knew she'd have to give him that talk soon to help him along. Oh well, it was better than HK-47 teaching it and destroying the kid's mind. A few days later, office, Hokage's. "Are you certain about this?" asked the Hokage, looking at the weasel-masked Anbu in front of him, who simply nodded and saw the old man sigh heavily. This was not a job for the elderly. "Yes. My arrogant father Uchiha Fugaku, it appears, will not tolerate Naruto's presence in any way long after he lost his sight at the hands of Kyuubi. Even now, He plans to have the entire clan attack Naruto and Kyuubi once the shield is down and claim the riches of the Namikaze Estate to strengthen the clan, said the weasel-masked Anbu, who noticed the Hokage's eyes narrow at that, and the burst of killer intent caused the Anbu to shiver unnoticeably. The old man was getting on in years, but he still had that fire in him, and it wasn't going out anytime soon. You are aware of your responsibilities. If you do this, I will be unable to keep you in the village and you will become a missing nin. Sarutobi had begun his investigation of the Uchiha clan in silence, using his most trusted Anbu spy, Uchiha Itachi. I owe Kushina-sensei everything for teaching me to become stronger, and I intend to protect Naruto to repay my debt to her, Itachi said, noting that Kushina had been in a coma since giving birth to Naruto and had yet to awaken. If only we could get Tsunade back here for a little while. Maybe she can find a way to get Kushina out of that coma and help raise Naruto, sighed Sarutobi, wondering what had made him so spineless in the first place. Perhaps we could ask the Kyuubi. It is clear that she is somewhat fond of the boy, and if we told her that the situation would benefit us because the boy could use a mother in his life, she would understand, Itachi observed Sarutobi's shocked expression. No. Kyuubi must not be aware of Kushina's existence. If she did, the demon might kill the woman in secret rather than save her, and we'd be blamed for not telling Naruto sooner. Sarutobi knew the boy would resent everyone in Konoha by the end of this. The only remaining question was who was at the top of the boys' list. Very good. Hokage-sama, I will immediately begin Operation U-Clan Purge, which will last approximately 4 days. As Itachi walked out of the Hokage's office, the Hokage smoked his pipe to relieve the stress of what had happened. When I see you again, Minato, I'm going to make sure you get the ass-kicking of a lifetime that will only be surpassed by your wife and son for what you did. Always thinking with your heart rather than your head was your flaw in life, but it was also one of your greatest strengths. As he looked out at Konoha, he saw its people running around doing their own thing, unaware that a terrible force, ironically of their own creation, was about to descend upon them. Namikaze Estate 3 days later. Kyuubi had been watching Naruto work himself ragged for the past few days since training began, and was impressed by his determination to push himself to the point of unconsciousness. In some ways, Naruto was the ideal student for any teacher to give their right arm for, as he absorbed information like a sponge and then manipulated it so that it worked for him even if the traditional way didn't. I don't have to be sadistic in my training methods, the boy embraces them willingly, and it's almost frightening, Kyuubi thought, as she had done her fair share of making Naruto's training harsh, but the boy kept coming back for more, as if to say he didn't care about the pain, and just kept getting up for more. Naruto, as Reven had predicted, took to his training like a fish to water, and everything he had learned while training in the shinobi arts. Essentially, it was the same as before, only easier in some ways and progressing at an astounding rate. Given this, Kyuubi decided to teach Naruto more about his demonic abilities and how they were linked to nature itself. She also taught him how to fight in her taijutsu style known as the Kitsune Fist, which when combined with what Naruto already knew made his hand-to-hand combat skills unrivaled, to say the least. Kyuubi also taught him how to control his Yuko form by channeling his human chakra while suppressing his demonic chakra to make the transformation go more smoothly. Kyuubi told him that once he became a full-fledged demon, he would be able to change into a full human-like form at will and simply pass off his traits as a bloodline limit. That's why he stood before Reven without tails, fox ears, or clawed hands with a slightly sharp edge, just to feel some part of his demon side was still active if only undetectable to others. Reven was surprised at how quickly the boy had progressed in his training, but then realized it shouldn't have come as a surprise given that Naruto was a Namikaze and Reven's descendant. I am pleased to hear from Kyuubi that you progressed well in your training, and the same can be said for learning to understand your new force powers, Reven said, seeing his apprentice nod and smile at him in accepting the compliment. Thank you very much, Master. I believe you have a gift for me, Naruto said this after HK-47 told him he was getting a surprise gift. Yes. Bring in the case, HK-47 arrived at the command of his holocron projected master, said Reven. True, master. Here's the case you asked for, HK-47 said as he presented a small metal case to a curious Naruto. When Naruto opened it, the case revealed two-cylinder lightsabers, and he marveled at their design. Those were once Reven's lightsabers, Reven said, seeing the boy hand the now empty case to HK while getting a feel for the two lightsabers in his hands. I wouldn't suggest using the lightsabers just yet, young master. They haven't been used in many years and will need some repairs before they can be used again, he said HK-47 because he didn't want those weapons to activate and blow him up in the process. Excellent point, HK. I'll go to the workshop and get the parts one need to update these, Naruto said this as he felt his hands practically tingle while holding these items, and for some reason, they felt right in his hands. Naruto made a wise decision. HK. You will assist Naruto in obtaining the necessary parts and assisting him with any questions he may have regarding the repair of his lightsabers, said Reven, emphasizing the word, his. To make it clear that they were Naruto's from now on, and that they would be until another Namikaze appeared many years later, should history repeat itself. Yes, master, HK-47 said, motioning Naruto to follow him to the workshop, and Kyuubi would have followed if Reven hadn't made a small hand motion for her to stay a moment longer. How is he doing? Aside from his education? Kyuubi had a small, almost gentle smile on her face, and her eyes seemed to have a small amount of gentleness in them as well, said Reven. Better. He still harbors a great deal of rage. Are you sure you want him running around the village at this hour? Kyuubi spoke up because she had discussed it with Reven and was hesitant to bring her new master out so soon in the thick of things. We can't keep him here forever, and the boy will have questions about his family that must be answered. More importantly, when it comes to his mother, Reven spoke up after Naruto told the holocron that he wanted to know what happened to his mother. Reven, of course, had told Naruto that the only person who could answer that was the Hokage, and that he would have to ask the old man. That much I am aware of. I've already given Naruto-kun many advantages that only the Sannin could have or possibly get away with. I'm not sure what happened to his human mother, but if she's still alive and failed to take in Naruto, I'll make sure there's hell to pay. Kyuubi's form generated an incredible amount of demonic chakra around her, and her killer intent was so strong that the holocrons in the room spasmed from the intense amount of energy. Please relax. You should know that I'm still needed here, Reven spoke up because he didn't want any of the holocrons on either side to be damaged, as even one would impede Naruto's force training. Fine. How is he progressing with your training? Kyuubi expressed her interest in Reven's progress after giving her report on Naruto. He's picking up a lot from his time with me. Naruto is evolving into a true Grey Master, much like my real self was when I was still fighting war after war, Reven spoke as his holocrons assisted him in recalling various battles he had during the Mandalorian Wars and later in the Jedi Civil War. It will take a lot more than just us to keep him in check. Much more. Kyuubi knew that while she and Reven were a good start in the beginning, the boy needed more, and Konoha was not the place for it. At least among the older generation. One day later in Konoha. Are you certain, Naruto-kun, that you want to do this? Kyuubi noticed Naruto now wearing his ancestors' armored clothing in his size, as well as the same type of helmet. Yes. I'm no longer afraid of them. Naruto expressed his original fear of the villagers and the shinobi populace, which had always terrified him when he was younger due to past events with them. You will never be again. No one will come within spitting distance of you as long as I'm by your side, unless I say so, and I'm very protective of my new master. Kyuubi hugged him from behind, allowing her assets to press up against him, causing Naruto to blush slightly because he was still new to the whole touchy-feely thing. That means a lot to me, Kyuubi-chan. Let's go see what havoc we can create today, Naruto said, making Kyuubi blush at the chan. He was pleased with the suffix he used. They made their way out of the estate, through the shield generator, and into the streets of Konoha's bustling population, where their very presence triggered a chain reaction of events. The populace was taken aback by these two, as they had never been seen before, and they wondered who they were and where they came from. Despite her concealment of her tails and the lack of fox ears she wore during the meeting with the Hokage that she interrupted, the shinobi who did know from the meeting a few days ago knew exactly who Kyuubi was. They also suspected that the masked figure in front of her, but still slightly beside her, was Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, and they had to be extra careful not to irritate the boy. His current attire was unlike anything they had ever seen before, with the armor, mask, and dark robes that wrapped around his form like a shadow and would eat you alive if you weren't careful. "Cat, do you know where they're going?" inquired an Anbu shinobi dressed in a ferret mask. "Either to the Hokage or the academy. Regardless, keep an eye out. This could be extremely bad or extremely good. We must find out, so stay alert," said the female cat-masked Anbu, who turned to look at her Anbu team, which was watching the duo from above on the rooftops, and saw her team nod before continuing their surveillance. As Naruto and Kyuubi walked towards their destination, the village populace stared, with the men wondering who the hot-looking woman was, and several females wondering who the well-muscled man behind the mask was. It was one of the features of Naruto's clothing, as it was tight on the outside but extremely comfortable on the inside, and the mask added to his mystery. One of the things that draws a woman to a man is her desire to learn more about him, which makes her want more. "Aren't we quite the head-turners, Naruto-kun?" Kyuubi smiled and whispered to Naruto, knowing that only Naruto could hear her. "It will be more when they discover who lies behind this mask, but before they do, I need to make myself known to the younger generation, and plant the seeds of betrayal into their minds," said Naruto, heading straight for the academy, knowing that only a young mind like their own can see past the hatred. Naruto-kun is so delectably evil. "I see you making good use of your ancestors' training and your complex demonized mind," smirking at the boy who had become her master, Kyuubi said. Naruto only gave her a quick nod before heading to the academy, which made the Anbu watching him nervous, and the newly formed half-demon couldn't help but smile at that behind his mask. People will soon fear, respect, and possibly love him for who he was rather than what he was. Hokage Tower Office of the Hokage. "Naruto, you've finally emerged from the shadows. The only question now is whether you will be a merciful warrior. Or will you vent your rage on everyone in the village for their stupidity in believing they must hate you in the past?" Sarutobi sighed as he watched the two through his crystal ball head towards the academy, praying he wouldn't lose any more people. "You're seeing him now, I take it," Kakashi said as he entered through the window because the secretary had told him the Hokage didn't want to be disturbed, which he knew was a lie because the old man wasn't. He also knew the secretary was paid by Danzo to spy on him. Something the Cyclops shinobi told the Hokage many years ago in order to keep the bandaged old fool in the dark about certain matters. "Yes. I'm worried about what's going to happen at the academy. I'm resisting the urge to summon every Anbu, Junin, and Chunin in the area to the academy to try to subdue the two," said the Sandaime, his mind half telling him to let the boy do whatever he wanted in accordance with the deal made by Kyuubi herself, and the other telling him to restrain the two until Jiraiya returned to fix this. If it was repairable. It's probably best if Naruto does whatever he wants to Hokage-sama. You and I both know that there is a lot of rage inside of him just waiting to be let loose on us. I don't think it's a good idea to provoke either, given what one is and the other's unknown powers that could rival any of us. I might add, including you." As he looked through the ball at the boy, he noticed they were now entering the academy. It was now up to the boy to show what he could do. Academy Insider. Naruto walked through the halls, passing students on their way to class, teachers on their way to class, janitors walking around, and other personnel. Many people turned their heads towards them, just like the villagers outside, and when they tried to stop him, they were flown into a wall or the ceiling before tasting the hardwood floor. The fact that Naruto never physically touched them with his hands astounded everyone, and his actions towards the Chunin teachers made it clear that he was not to be trifled with. Naruto walked through the academy halls until he came to a room filled with students he suspected were clan heirs and heiresses. The class was being taught by two Chunin, one named Amino Iruka and his comrade Mizuki. "Hello, can I assist you with something?" Iruka observed the masked figure walk silently into the room with the commanding stature only seen in a Hokage or high-level shinobi. "Yes. I'm in your class today to talk to the students about something important." Naruto spoke through his mask, his voice muffled by one of the mask's components that he activated. "Okay. Do you have the Hokage's approval? And what specifically did you want to discuss with the students?" Iruka expressed concern for his students after discovering the boy, while Mizuki exhaled heavily at the sight of the two. "I don't have confirmation from the Hokage, and I don't need it. I don't answer to that old man and will never do so unless it benefits me in the long run. What I want to speak to your students about is also none of your concern, because if you try to tell them about it, the end result would be that you all died immediately, and given the nature of the law behind what I'm about to say, I recommend that you keep your mouth shut." Naruto saw both Chunin take a deep breath as they realized what law the man in front of them was talking about, and who was behind the mask in question. "Hey. What is your name?" said a boy with a puppy dog on his head, who was now slightly whimpering in fear of Naruto and Kyuubi after smelling the fox scent on both of them. "My real name will be revealed later. Now, let me say what I have to say. You see, about 8 years ago, around the time you were born, a great demon known as Kyuubi attacked the village and nearly won if the Yondaime Hokage hadn't acted quickly. He sacrificed his life to defeat the great demon lord, but he did not kill it, as your parents may have told you or as you may have heard in history class. That is a lie." Naruto said this, causing the students to gasp and whisper to one another about why people would lie to them like this. If the demon wasn't destroyed, where is it, and why would the adults lie to us in the first place? Asked Shikamaru, who found the man's presence so bothersome that he couldn't sleep, and the woman beside him had a look in her eyes that rivaled Nara's mother. "Despite what your parents and teachers have told you, the demon lord lives because they don't want you to know the truth. They believe that lying to you is preferable, despite the fact that they most likely taught you to be honest in life, as they claim. The village over is full of hypocrites, I say. Anyway, the Yondaime sealed away the demon lord Kyuubi no Kitsune inside a newborn child that had just been brought into this world, and the child, the Yondaime's son no less, was to be seen as a hero for carrying such a burden inside of his tiny body, and expected the people of the village to do so as well." Naruto, seeing the children gasp again, whispered about who the Namikaze boy was and if he was willing to go on a date with them. "Namikaze? He means my guiding spirit." Hinata wondered, looking at the figure, if the same person behind the mask was that person. Did the village honor the Yondaime's dying wish? Asked a fat boy named Choji, munching on some chips and enjoying the story. They did not, in fact. Instead, the village repeatedly attempted to harm and kill the boy, particularly on his birthday, believing he was the Kyuubi when they were far more mistaken than they realized. Because, you see, Kyuubi no Kitsune was a woman. Naruto made the children gasp in surprise, and he saw Hinata crying from where she was on the fact that someone had tried to harm the Yondaime's son when it had been the Yondaime who had saved them all. Their actions are illogical and irrational, and would not be tolerated by the Hokage who is now the Sandaime, Shino said, having studied historical politics. Agreed. The Hokage, on the other hand, made a law that no one other than the vessel himself can tell you this information, and the penalty for anyone else who knows about the Kyuubi being inside of him and tells you is death without trial. However, as you can see, not many people have died in the last 8 years because the two councils have used their power to override such orders for people, which serves as motivation for them to keep trying. What does that imply? Naruto made the children think deeply, and even Nara was focused intently on what he had just heard. That the two councils are abusing their powers for their own ambitious gains in order to usurp the Yondaime's wish and the Sandame's command law, which he left for people in the village to follow, Shikamaru said, his eyes focused in concentration. Correct, exclaimed Naruto, clapping Nara on the back as his claw-like gauntlets made a metal clinking noise. Wait. You stated that the law was passed so that if anyone other than the Namikaze spoke of this, they would be executed, and since you just did that, don't you have to be executed now? Yamanaka Ino wondered how the man would get out of this one, and if he would have to die in front of them. She was hoping not. No. I'm immune, seeing the group's confusion, Naruto said. Immune? How? Uchiha Sasuke wanted to know, and like any Uchiha, he got what he wanted. Simple. My name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Naruto said, removing his helmet to reveal raging blonde hair with stakes of red, a semi-chiseled face, and whisker birthmarks. And his blue eyes became intense, surprising everyone in the room. It's he. It's him. Hinata exclaimed, her eyes filling with joy and her pale face turning crimson. It's Naruto, exclaimed Iruka, perplexed as to why he hadn't noticed this before. It's the demon boy and that demon bitch Kyuubi, Mizuki thought, snarling at the two because he had no feelings for either of them. Surprise. Now, if you would please turn your attention to this lovely lady in front of me, I would like to introduce you to the one and only Kyuubi no Kitsune. Naruto's words caused the student's eyes to pop out of their sockets and he fainted on the spot. Hinata fainted for a variety of reasons. I think you overdid it, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi smirked at the boy, who turned to face her and shrugged, as if it didn't really matter at this point. Maybe. We'll see what happens when they all confront and question their parents about it later today. Naruto said this before putting on his helmet and walking out with her to see the Hokage. Office of the Hokage. I can't believe he just took a chance to bond with the current generation by telling them about Kyuubi, said Kakashi, seeing the Hokage let out a defeated sigh, as Naruto's plan was brilliant and masterful in terms of a tactical move by the boy. Kakashi made a brilliant move. If the current generation of Konoha refuses to give Naruto a chance, he will leave the village, taking everything he can from his clan's home. The feudal lords will hear about it and refuse to do business with us because of this village's past crimes against its hero's son. The current generation is being taught to despise their parents, to despise the elderly, and to do everything in their power to make our lives miserable, said the old Hokage, slumping further in his chair in defeat. Do you really mean that? Kakashi spoke up, but the tired expression on Sandame's face cut him off, and the old man simply nodded his head. Yes. Whatever happens next could spark a massive insurgency that only Naruto can put a stop to, and Kami can help us if the old generation continues to fail. Sarutobi pondered how he would ever make amends to Naruto, if at all. Kami assists them all.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.